This one is for Riley and then Joel. Your coach mentioned in his press conference that he was talking about this game is going to be equal parts X's and O's, but also just who wants it more and who has that desire. So for you guys who've seen so much success here at MSU, just how do you get down to that balance of, playing a very complete football game, but also just having that hunger, knowing that the playoff is on the line?
Yeah, especially against a team like Iowa. They're not going to go out there and try to trick you too much. They're kind of going to line up and do what they do. So in that kind of game, it's really who wants it more, who's going to play more intense, who's going to play more physical. And I feel like on our team, we feel like we're the most physical team. We're the toughest team out there. So I think we really like this matchup. We're excited to play. We know Iowa's a great team. But, like I said, we're just excited to play and get after Saturday night.
Same concept what Riley said. I think it's important that, both teams come with that physical mindset. When playing this game, I think the front seven is going to be the most important asset to the game, and so whoever wins on both sides physically is going to be the most dominant team and come out with the win.
Same two guys, Riley and Joel. What did they do in the running game? It seems like they were able to bust a lot of long ones this year.
Yeah, watching film on them, it's pretty simple run schemes, inside outside zone. So what they do, they just keep pounding at you, kind of like how our offense does. So, against a team like that, you just got to stay disciplined. You got to do your job. You got to stay in your gap every play because that's where they hurt people. I feel like that they kind of lull the other team to sleep, and catch them in the wrong gaps, and that's when they gush them for, those explosive gains. So we just got to be disciplined. It's something that we preach each and every day in practice. I feel like for the most part, we've done a great job of that on defense so far this year. So, I'm pretty confident on our end.
This is a question for Aaron. Throughout the entire season, and especially in that game against Penn State, you've taken your game to a whole nother level this year. What has that been like? And explain to me and kind of walk me through the double spin-around move that you made in the last play.
It feels good, me able to make plays for my team and help this offense get going every week. But on that particular play, I just caught the ball, spent. My body did it on its own. It wasn't me. But, yeah, that's it.
Aaron, this one's also for you. You faced Jordan Lewis this year, Will Likely, and now you've got Desmond King. Where does he rank in that group, and what kind of challenge does he present?
He's one of the best corners in this conference. I look forward to the matchup this weekend. He's a good player. I'm a good player. We'll go at it this weekend.
Jack, right after the game, talking to some of the guys, everyone kind of pointed to it was a great win, but there's a lot of things that we can get better at. How close is this team to playing that level that you want to play at?
Well, I think it's all coming together as you've seen in the last few games, especially offensively. You're seeing everybody get healthy again. We finally have the entire offensive line back, and that's huge for the run game. And you've seen those young backs really coming together. I mean, you don't know which one's going to be in, and it really doesn't matter because they're all playing so well. I think we're really close for breaking out. I think you're seeing us all come together, and I think you saw the Ohio State game, you saw the Penn State game. Finally, everything just clicking, and we're excited to keep it going against Iowa.
For Jack and Aaron, you guys have been really good on third down this year. What can you attribute to what that success is, and I guess talk about what Connor does that makes him special on third down?
Our coaches and ourselves, we harp on the third down, being able to convert on third down. Every third down we're in the huddle saying, it's money down. We got to keep the sticks moving. So, we just focus on, trying to, get the right play in, and execute.
We also really harp on first down conversion rate. So, if our goal is to get 4 yards on first down every time, that makes it more manageable. If we get that goal down, and we're left with a 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 6. We try to stay out of those 3rd and long situations best. But, you see Connor out there, when we do put him in that position, he's making those throws, making it the birds out there, making those catches, and see R.J. and McGarrett doing a great job.
Riley, Coach D'Antonio was just out here talking about these guys want it all, and the goal is a national championship. I think there's a lot of programs that shy away from doing that and say, we just want to focus on today and that kind of thing. That hasn't seemed to be your style. Why does that mentality work for this team, and how long has that been the approach around here?
Yeah, Coach D, he's a coach that he tells it how it is, and we appreciate that as players. We feel like if we look at our goals and we say we want to be champions, that helps us understand the amount of work that's needed to go into that kind of season. So yeah, like you said, it's not as much as, all right, guys, one game at a time like that, because we know it's one game at a time. You know, we're mature enough to know each and every week you got to go out and play as hard as you can. But in the end, you got to know what you're working for, and we're working for a championship. It's no secret. We talk about it every week. So, you know, it's time to be about it this weekend in Indianapolis. We couldn't be more excited.
Jack, I know you guys as an offensive line are sort of built with great depth. You've rotated a lot of guys in, but how much of a strain was it on the depth of the offensive line this year? Maybe more than you would have expected, and how did you think you guys sort of survived that to this point?
Well, I think definitely going into the beginning of the season, you know, we didn't have quite that depth yet. There were a lot of younger guys who had a chance to, you know, learn and possibly step in those positions. I think the injuries led to them being forced into that. And they did a great job. I mean, as you can see, we've come out at 11-1, and that's credit to those guys being able to step up. And I think now at this point of the season that we do have everybody healthy again, those guys have now had those reps, and they've really matured. So now we have gotten to the point in the season where we have the depth that we've had in past years.
This is for Jack and Riley. You guys have been counted out a time or two over your guys' career, especially I want to start with you, Jack, as a walk-on. Knowing what disrespect can do and the chip it can give you on your shoulder, with you guys being favored in this game, how do you approach Iowa, making sure you don't give them the same sort of fuel? And then Riley after.
Well, I mean, I like to think of Iowa as a very similar team to us in that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about them as much throughout the conference. And, you know, we want to be that solid, you know, that pounding team. You know, Iowa's had that title for a long time, and we want to prove that, you know, we're the more physical team. And I think that's what's riding on this game. That's the chip on the shoulders, that we want to be known as the most physical team in the conference, and, you know, show that on Saturday.
Jack, this one's for you. It was once said that Shalik beats you about 1 million times in practice. I kind of think that's a hypothetical number, but it kind of seems real with the way that you look. You look like that type of player that would lose to him. What do you have to, you know what, next question. Burb. Yeah, I'm not even going to go to you. Joel.
Well, I mean, I'm going to cut you off there. I mean, I'm just going to, I mean.
He's going to lie.
You don't see many flags in practice on those offsides.
Listen, the ref doesn't lie. I'm just saying. You see.
Well, I guess we're finding that out on Saturday. You know?
Oh, all right. So next question, Joe. I heard that Shalik is a very handsome guy, and that it was once said.
That's false.
All right, let me finish the question.
Okay.
It was once said that he walked up to you and just batted an eye and you fainted. True or false?
I can't say I saw that.
You saw that?
I did see that.
It's definitely false. Definitely false.
Well, coming from the Wandering Bear, and
Stupid.
all right, I'll pass the mic on.
I got kind of a two-parter. Riley, if you could talk about what Burbage has done in practice. I mean, we see him on Saturdays, but you've seen him throughout his career, the plays he's made. And then, Aaron, if you'll talk about the foot injury and just how devastating that was and what you had to do to get back to form after suffering that in the spring.
Yeah, I think what, you know, Burb and all the offensive guys do is they practice hard. And for an elite team, I feel like that's important because you play how you practice during the week, and they make plays against us in practice. And we make plays against them. So, you know, it's just a battle each and every day. And believe it or not, you know, this deep in the season, we still go ones versus ones quite a bit in practice, which a lot of teams don't do. So I think that just helps us on game days. And, you know, just that mentality has really, you know, gotten us to where we are today.
Yeah, and I had broken my foot during spring ball. Luckily, it was early in spring ball, so I had time to recover so I can come back in time for camp. So first day in camp, I was back, and I just didn't lose a step and just kept playing.
Joel, this is for you. I mean, in 2013, you guys had a number of guys that played for Big Ten championships in 10 and 11. what do you remember from the guys telling you, anything in particular from those guys from the previous teams, and what lessons from that do you pass on now to the younger guys?
I think the biggest thing is just to be hungry. No matter the circumstances of win or loss in the Big Ten championship, it's just to continue to have that drive. First, second, third, fourth quarter, and I think that's the biggest thing to pass on to them is that you now have the experience going this year into it. So now you can kind of think about next year. It's expected that you repeat the same thing. So just that confidence, giving them confidence that next year you come into it and with the mindset that that's the objective and goal that you want to achieve.
Is there any one player's lesson or, I guess, message to you from before that stood out?
I think Tyler Hoover was one of the biggest ones. He had a lot of success at Michigan State as he was here. With many different championships, and I think him talking to me about expectations for the prior season was always big for me.
Riley, I don't recall. How much did you play 2013 in the Indy game? Were you on special teams then or what?
Yeah, I was pretty much just a special teams guy that year.
So I'm wondering how much dialogue you've had with Max and what he's told you about, because he's been there and done that, about what you're facing this weekend.
Yeah, we talked a little bit on Sunday about the game. He always just talks about just understand the expectations and understand that, there's nothing wrong with having pressure on you, because we know there's pressure. But, what he always would say is he likes pressure. Everyone in our family likes pressure because it makes us perform better. So I think if you can just understand that, control it, that's when really you can play your best.
Jack, I'm also wondering the same thing I asked Connor, if you've reflected at all from the time you came here as a walk-on when other people didn't want you, including Michigan, and everything that's happened to you in 3 years and everything you experienced here, if you've thought back on that at all.
Oh, definitely. I think about it every day. I think that's my motivation every day to, work harder and keep preparing every week. It's just how close it is to being, back there. I think just that's the chip on the shoulder mentality that Coach D's built around here, and I think you see that with all sorts of guys. You look at Darquez, you look at Trey Waynes, and Le'Veon. There's countless guys that you can count on our team, even now, that are those type of guys, and I think that's the motivation that our team has, and that's why we've been so successful.
For Riley and Joel, again, getting the defensive perspective on Gerald Holmes, you guys tackle him a lot in practice and in camp. How tough is it to tackle him, and what have you seen from him in the way he's sort of emerged here late in the season?
Well, he's an extremely strong runner, first off, and he's developed a great deal of vision now, kind of going into the season. I think that was the one component that he was missing in the beginning, but I can see the vision that he has on top of, his strength in his legs, and I think that's always been the biggest thing for him is, getting upfield and making sure that, he gets those extra yards, and so that was the biggest thing, improvement that I've seen in him, leading into, the last regular season game.
Yeah, just him being a tough, determined runner, I think is really what's carried him this far. It's good to see. I think he's matured a lot in the last couple months, which is another good thing. Just him just never going down and keeping his feet moving is what you need to do in the Big Ten, especially with our offense, pro style. We run it a lot. So when you can get those extra yards, that's really what's going to propel you from being a backup to being, a potential starter. And I think that's what he's done for himself, so, I'm happy for him.
Sticking along that line, it seemed like the offensive line over the past few weeks has kind of gelled and finally gotten everybody back and healthy. Have you noticed in practice when that really kicked in and those guys started to get that chemistry back that they had in the past?
Yeah, definitely during game time. I think those were, kind of statement moments when we noticed that, everybody was kind of in gear and in tune and when we were playing against them as a defense. So you can definitely tell, just in terms of their intensity and, how physical they come off the ball against us and, kind of that confidence that they previously had that they now have again. And so it's just good to see that and, see that they're back.
How long has that been back for? When did that come back?
I really say about, 3 weeks ago that they kind of got, kind of geared up and with that same confident mindset.